All right, good evening to everyone. It is 7:45 p.m. and we do call this meeting to order. Thank you all so much for your presence here this evening as we are here to conduct business for Wellington City Schools District. All right, at this time, we'll wait for our mission statement to be posted. Ms. Jenkins has already informed me we're going to have her to read it tonight. Ms. Jenkins, go ahead on, say what you had to say.
All of us gonna read it together.
If we can read it together, everyone can see it. All right. The mission of Wellington City School District is to create and maintain a highly effective educational system in which every student receives the highest quality education. School employees and parents work together to prepare students to become caring, competent, and responsible citizens who value education as a lifelong process. All right, thank you so much. This time, board members, we will ask if you would review our agenda for this evening. Are there any additions or deletions from our agenda for our May 19th, 2022 meeting tonight? The additions and deletions.
I make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. Okay.
Motion has been moved by Tiffany Hale and seconded by Mrs. Bird Robinson that we approve our agenda tonight as it is printed. You've heard that motion. Is there any further discussion on unreadiness? Hearing none, all those in favor, would you let it be known by using your voting sign of aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Let the record reflect unanimous approval by the 7 board members that are present for our meeting tonight. Next, we have on our agenda approval of our minutes from the said dates. Are there any questions or concerns? Our minutes.
Chair, I move that we accept January 12th, February 17th, March 11th, March 17th, and April 12th, 2022 minutes as printed. Second.
Motion has been moved by Ms. Kay Robinson and seconded by Ms. Hale that we approve our open session minutes, the aforementioned dates that have been stated at this time. Heard that motion. Is there any further discussion on unreadiness? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, let it be known by your voting sign of aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Right. Unanimous approval by the 7 board members that are present. All right, moving on to number 4, recognitions and celebrations. Mrs. Terry Austin, we are ready for you tonight.
Good evening,
Good evening.
board chair, board members, interim superintendent, and most of all, our community. Good afternoon, good evening. This is a joy in order to highlight the great things that are going on in our district and recognizing all of the achievements. And so I'm going to step back now. I'm going to ask my colleague, Mrs. Melinda Portier, our school counselor from RVEC, if she would come forward with the first presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I am so thrilled and honored to present this prestigious honor and award to one of the students, a senior, graduating from Roanoke Valley Early College. First, let me tell you a little about this particular scholarship. This is the Ethel W. Crawley Memorial Education Fund Scholarship. This is a full 4-year scholarship that will cover tuition, room, board, school fees, and books. Now, did I call you up? Miss Austin stealing my thunder, calling her up already. Okay, so yeah, come up here. Let them see you. Yes, let them see you. Okay, so again, room, board, tuition, school fees, and books. In addition to the scholarship, Akayla Frazier, everyone, is also, she'll receive additional money to purchase a computer for her studies. And so Ethel Crawley, for those of you who may not know, she died April 11th, 1998, and was a lifelong resident of Littleton, teaching music for 28 years in Littleton High School. Her scholarship has benefited dozens of students in the Roanoke Valley, and we are thrilled that Akayla Frazier is the recipient this year.
Miss
Yeah.
48, let me interrupt you for one quick second.
Yes.
We can do better than that. Let all of us stand and give this young lady a round of applause.
Let me tell you a little about Akayla. Okay, there's a lot I could share, but I'm going to keep this fairly short, but she deserves this time. So Akayla is planning to attend North Carolina Central University in the fall. She plans to major in clinical research and then pursue her PhD in oncology.
Yes.
She has already earned her associate in arts from Halifax Community College.
Yes.
Just a few other accolades for Akayla. She is a member of the Beta Club, FBLA, co-captain of the cheer team, member of the volleyball team, the softball team, the yearbook committee, a yearbook committee member, and an Halifax Community College ambassador, just to name a few.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much for the honor of awarding or recognizing you for this. And everyone, give her another round of applause.
Congratulations.
I told her I couldn't
Miss
resist.
Akayla.
If y'all would have saw her face when Miss 48 started speaking, it was just priceless. And then Mom already just went this way. I'm like, girl, come on up here and get your gift. So congratulations. What charge your pride?
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna move forward to our May presentations as well with our student of the month. And what we're asking is when I call your name, if you would please come forward and stand. And then our board
Ms.
members and superintendent.
Excuse me 1 second. Board members are saying, we want Ms. Akayla Frazier to come back
Get a picture?
so we can have a picture to make sure that we post this on our website. Advertising Weldon is very well, our interim superintendent and myself. Matter of fact, board members, I think we should all stand together to celebrate this. I think we can do that. all please forgive us when you have one of your students in your district that received a scholarship like that, a full ride to any college that they want to go to is worth us taking the time to celebrate that success within our district, like we try to celebrate other successes among our students as well. All right. Thank you all so much.
Okay, so with our May presentations of our student of the month, we're asking them when I call your name, if you would please come forward and stand so that you too can take a picture with our board members as well as the interim superintendent. We have Weldon Elementary Global Academy, Melody Freeman. Is Miss Freeman here? Okay, so when you see her, let's give her a round of applause. When you see Melody, she's a first grader, so she may have been on that trip today, so she may be a little tuckered out. Our students went to Norfolk, Virginia today, and they returned late. So, but that she has great leadership skills, outstanding attitude, disposition, and she's the parents of Prashinda Freeman and Victor Freeman. So we will be putting a sign in her yard as well on this week. Do we have Weldon Middle School, Takira Ivy? Woo! Takira is an 8th grader at Weldon Middle School who also have outstanding grades, outstanding attitude and disposition, as well as exemplary character. She's the daughter of Pamela Arrington and Tavares Ivy. Let's give her a round of applause. For Weldon STEM High School, we have Kashi Jones. Mr. Jones? He's a senior here at Weldon STEM High School with leadership, notable consideration towards others, as well as exemplary character, who's the parents of Miss Lathresha Rogers and Correll Jones. Congratulations. Then we have Roanoke Valley Early College, Gabrielle Williams. She's a 10th grader. Yes. With significant progress in the classroom, marked improvement in grades, outstanding grades. And she's the daughter of Isaiah Elliott and LaRonda Williams. Let's give them all a hand. So each one of the students will be treated to dinner and a movie. The dinner is provided by Chick-fil-A in Roanoke Rapids, where they'll get a combo on their way to Roanoke Rapids Cinema. Here's the dinner. Okay. Our next presentation will be Parent of the Month. We like to also recognize our parents, our outstanding parents. And this evening, we're recognizing a father of a 5th grade student at Weldon Middle School, Mr. Maurice Newell. Mr. Newell is very active and involved. He volunteers and assisted with student celebrations all year long. He's pleasant and positive. Let's give Mr. Newell another hand. Presentation as well as Dr. Robinson, would you like to come up as well? Okay. Also now we've recognized our students, our parents, and now to our employee of the month. This month, for the month of May, we're going to recognize our, and I learned this today from Mr. Futrell, that it's our school counselor, not guidance counselor, but our school counselor, Miss LaQuasia Hudson. Miss Hudson? She's not here this evening. Okay. So Ms. Hudson displays outstanding performance pertaining to her job and related responsibilities. She contributes to the school district above and beyond her expectations. And she's always willing to assist and working as a team member and fulfilling her responsibilities. So when hearing that, please, when you see Ms. Hudson on tomorrow, let her know that you heard about her in this evening's Board of Education meeting. Our next presentation that we will be doing this evening will be our CTE recognition of students that we had that received awards. And I'm going to ask Ms. Davis if she would come forward.
Good evening, everyone. I will be recognizing our FBLA students who went to state conference the end of March. So we had some state winners. So Weldon Middle School, first place we had Takira Ivy, and she won first place in business etiquette. And Takira will be going to Chicago, Illinois, the end of June. All right, we have Christian Robinson. He won in the elevator speech. Samaya Graham, interpersonal communication. We have Jariah Brown, exploring technology. And the middle school students are under the leadership of Mr. Jones and myself. We had 2 students from Roanoke Valley Early College to place also. We have Brianna McCoy in UX design. And Cabria Smith, future business leader. And RVEC is under the leadership of Mr. Derek Burt. Thank you. Okay, I think I remembered everything. It was a great evening this night with full of recognitions of our students
as well as our employees and our parents. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to share those highlights. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Thank you so much, Austin and Davis. Thank you very much. And for you. Moving right along with our reports. We'll begin with our interim superintendent's report. And let me say to us, for those that may not have known, but this is Dr. Wendy Carpenter's first regular board meeting with our school district. And we are excited and we are thankful for the job that she is doing and the leadership that she is providing for our school district at this pivotal point within our school district with everything that we're looking forward to as far as the end of year, testing, and graduation. And so she has her hands full, but she is definitely navigating the ship. So we appreciate her so much and we want to just recognize her in that facet by this being her first meeting, again, regular scheduled meeting that she would share interim superintendent's report with us.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Board members, staff, students, community members. I would like to first thank each of the board members for this opportunity to serve as interim superintendent of Weldon City Schools. As mentioned many times before, I, as well as the central office staff, will continue to provide support for our students, staff, and families. To our families, please remember that we have an early release day tomorrow. It is also the last day of school tomorrow. However, even though we have had a great year, learning does not stop. We want to invite all of our kindergarten to 12th grade students to our academically and enriching summer learning program as we as Chargers continue charging into excellence this summer. Thank you.
Right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. My report is going to be very, very brief tonight. Dr. Carpenter has already spoken some of what I wanted to say this evening. Even though tomorrow is the last day of school, we do have graduation coming up and some of our students are preparing to go to college or their next step in life. And we certainly want for our families to be safe this summer. Our students, we want you to be cautious and careful. Even if you may be graduating, you're still somebody's child. And I know how it is. I was the same way when I graduated. I was just ready to be grown in that respect. We're still somebody's child, and our parents, our teachers, our community stakeholders, they still care and they love you very much. And we want to celebrate your successes, not only now, but in the next year, next 2 years, the next 4 years, as you will be those students that will say that you came from Weldon City Schools, regardless of the size, regardless of the geographical location, regardless of what limited resources we may or may not have, but you made it. And we want to congratulate our graduates in advance, even though they will be graduating with their diplomas on next week, but we want to congratulate them in advance. Those that may not be graduating from high school or our early college, we want to say congratulations to you because you're moving on to the next grade. And we thank you for being our students. Parents, thank you for having your children here with us. We want your children here with us. We need your children here with us. And we're doing the very best that we can to make sure that we provide an environment that is conducive for learning and student achievement. So I wanted to say that to us, and I'm quite sure that the entire board agrees with the fact of how proud we are of the successes of our students and our stakeholders within our community. Our students will be going home soon. We know the school year is coming to an end, but we are looking forward to a grand and great 2022-2023 school year, as we look forward for our students to come back, and even during the summer programs and all that we have going on, we want you to take advantage of them, take full advantage of them. Because as Dr. Carpenter said, learning does not stop just because the school year has ended. We want you to keep learning, keep growing. Thank you so much. Right. We will forego the maintenance report for tonight. Ms. Wall.
Mr. Chairman, board members, and Dr. Carpenter, I believe in your information, you have the financial report for the month of April for all the funds. Fund 2 is first. We began a beginning balance of 1.9 million. In the month of April, we collected $87,990. Bringing us to $2,015,640. We began the month with expenditures of 1.5 million. We expended 149,117, bringing us a total of 1.687 million, with a net result for the year of 328,054.98. Which brings our unobligated fund balance to 1.491 million. Our next report is for capital outlay. We began the month at in your revenues of 363,385. We collected 12,894, bringing our total deposits to 376,279. On the expenditure side, we began the month with 162,565. We expended 17,055 for the month, bringing our total to 179,620, which has given us a net result for the year of $196,659, bringing our unobligated fund balance to $726,784. Moving on to child nutrition, we began revenues of 495,073. We collected 130,717, bringing total deposits year to date to 625,791. We began the month on the expenditure side of 556,464. We expended 53,706. Bringing a total expenditure to 610,170, bringing a net result in the positive to 15,620, bringing the unobligated fund balance to 331,973. And lastly, we have Fund 8. We began the month with revenues of 577,475. We collected in deposits 122,214, bringing year-to-date revenues to 699,689. We began the expenditures of 590,710. We expended 51,765, bringing a total to 642,476. That brings us a net result of a positive 57,213. And our unobligated fund balance to 681,849. Any questions on those? Everything's in the black.
Oh, that's right. We see nothing but black.
Everything's in the black.
Very good.
You also have in your packet, I believe, that report I started, the all funds by PRC. Does it look like this, or does it look wonky? I just want to make sure it came across to you. Okay, that's good. I just want to make sure, because I pulled something up and it didn't look right. So I just want to make sure you're looking at the same thing. I'll just hit the highlights. And Fund 1, our total budget at the beginning of is currently 8.6, and we have a balance to spend of 2.6. And I know one particular item we're always concerned with is the restart fund. On this particular report, which was as of April the 30th, it's showing 1.4, but before I came, I checked that number and it's around 800,000. So with Dr. Carpenter's summer school and some other things that I know will take place in June, I think we're in good shape. A lot of folks have worked hard to do all the things for the children out of that pot of money, so it's been well spent.
Thank
you. Fund 2, you have a budget of 2.47 million and a balance to date of 767,000. That's not a pot we technically want to spend all of. Fund 3, which is all of your federal grants, a budget of 10.6 million, and we still have 8.4 million, which a lot of those are your ESSER grants, which continue to carry over. There are a couple that are beginning to expire, I think in September, but those are pretty close to being depleted, so you're in good shape with that. Fund 4, which is your capital outlay, a beginning budget of 638,000, and we have a balance of 406. Child nutrition, a beginning budget of 787, 741, and a balance left of 154, 319. And then in Fund 8, beginning budget of 1.4 million and a balance of 762, 323. Any questions?
Go ahead, yes.
That's a comment. I see what you get at the COVID testing program.
It's in there, yes, ma'am.
I'm saying that I see that you did add it, and you seem to have enough money.
Yes, ma'am.
More than enough money for that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I think there was a lag in some personnel changes and getting all that squared away, but that's in movement at this point. Okay. I think so, yes, ma'am. I haven't looked at, I'll be quite honest, I haven't pulled the specific, read through all the red fine tape on that. I'll have to check and see if they'll allow us to use it beyond, or if it's, or what the situation is. I don't really know, but I'll check on that for you. And one, just a bit of information, I believe at our budget meeting, you asked me about charter school students. And that number is around 231. Yes, ma'am. Gaston Prep is around 129. Kip Halifax is around 99, and then Rocky Mount Prep has 3.
Those are the schools that you're saying
That we pay to. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
They live in our district, but they attend charter school.
Yes, sir. That's right.
I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
Child nutrition.
Yes, sir.
I see what we were budgeted for the year, and I see what we have left to spend. I guess the rest of that money, since tomorrow is the last day of school for our students, and maybe Ms. Donna, I don't know if she has that, or is there something left to spend? Is that going to be enough to take care of summer school?
Well, so she'll get summer feeding money
Okay,
to cover the summer school.
okay,
And you'll see that in the budget amendment that's coming in June.
okay, all right. Just wanted to make sure with summer program running that we had enough.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I've been working on trying to get all those little pieces together,
All
but
right.
we're aware of that.
Okay,
Okay.
good enough.
All right.
Any other
Anything else?
questions? Yes, sir.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, there were different pockets of money that would go to each school. The excess money that we had, do you know if that money went to the school? Did the principal have, or at liberty to do with those funds, what they wanted to it and the amount that might have gone to those schools?
You're talking about like the ESSER money
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Title I and those things? Yes,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am.
That did go out to the school. And I believe, Terry, if you want, there's a plan that they're supposed to follow.
I see you up there. I'm sorry.
That answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anything else?
To my right, y'all have any questions? Ms. Wall, let me say this to you very quick because, and I'm gonna just say this, you came in at a time to help us and we are appreciative as well. And I'm glad that you heard us and, you know, when we were budgeting about our PRC code, this is really helpful to this board, you know, in trying to help, you know, where we have areas as Mr. Williams was pointing out. I mean, I know we're gonna get to it, but being able to see these balances, what we spent, that's really gonna help us stay on target to make sure that we get things spent. So we won't be running up against what we had, you know, that we had to expend
Right,
this year.
right.
So thank you so much for helping us with that and implementing that in that respect. I mean, I know we've always had PRCs from, you know, previous finance officers as well, but to have them in categories like this, it's easy to read and it's very, very helpful. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
That's going to help us stay on top of making sure we spend what we're supposed to spend.
Very good. Very
Thank
good.
you.
You're welcome.
All right. All right. Oh, Dr. our instructional report. Oh, good. Okay, Ms.
Wow.
Martin's got, okay.
While Ms. Martin is waiting, I will like to share that we have at 191 students already enrolled for summer learning.
Good.
Just want to remind everyone, Monday through Thursday, June 8th is when summer learning is going to start. July 21st is our last day. The website for enrolling is on the application for enrollment is on the district websites as well as the school websites. And the counselors, the principals, everyone is informed. So if anyone needs assistance with that, just contact the counselor, the school, the principals, and everything you need is on the website. Next week, we're gonna put out some signs to continue to advertise our summer learning program. So look forward to that, and we're looking forward to a great summer.
Did you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a deadline in which students can register for the summer?
No, at this point, we don't have a deadline.
So
It's open.
enrollment.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, good evening, board chair, vice
evening.
chair, interim superintendent, Dr. Carpenter, families, colleagues, and guests. Testing and school accountability. We finished up our EOY with Amplify at the elementary school. As you know, our EOGs at the elementary and middle school, that window was the 9th through the 20th. So all students have been tested at those schools unless there's a retest. But for the regular administration, we've had those. NCXTN 1 at all the schools is complete. At the high school, we have EOCs, we have some makeups tomorrow. Hopefully those students will show up. And then we have the summer school program, and that testing window is the 13th through the 16th, but the students will attend 5 days before. So they have to attend the remediation period in order to participate in the summer testing program. Professional development, the staff survey is still online, but we've already started for the 2022-2023 school year. So August 2nd is a required work day, and that will be school-based PD. August 3rd, there will be a keynote speaker and breakout sessions. There's a registration form that is in progress. And August 4th, letters and school-based PD. And we had to go ahead and put those letters dates on the calendar because we have to get that particular unit during the fall semester. August 9th through the 11th, there will be school-based and district-wide PD. Beginning teachers, all the teachers have had their, beginning teachers have had their end of year checkout. There are 3 school-based mentors. East Carolina instructional coach provided some feedback about our teachers, and he said that our science teachers are the best that he has seen in any school that he serves, and he serves several schools. So I did want to shout them out. Also,
Give them a hand.
yes. The 2022-23 MOA for ECU, I've been talking to Dr. Carpenter about that, and they are drafting that document for board review and hopefully approval. Excuse me. And this is the AIG report. So have you all had the opportunity to look over the plan, or is this not?
Just highlight seeing this, the areas that you want
Okay.
to highlight in the presentation.
You see it? Y'all see it? You see it? I
Well,
made a
That's what she
copy.
had.
I gave y'all.
one of the things that has
That's it,
happened,
that's
excuse me, is one of the things that we changed for this one is to add, excuse me, I got to move some more too. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Okay, so we've added a CDM, credit by demonstrated mastery document. I'm trying to think, it's basically what we did for the new plan was to take the feedback from the old plan. So if we had feedback that said that the practice was evident and that the response was clear, there was no change. So this document is what we've used, and for the most part, we had some pretty good feedback from NCDPI. So if anyone needs this, I can share that, but excuse me, essentially, that's how we wrote the new plan. Oh, you do?
Yeah, they have it.
Oh,
They
okay,
have it.
perfect. So that's, I can't think of any other highlights other than now it's no longer in Apex, it's in CCIP.
So out of the CDM, got a different plan from, how many students do we see?
Not this year.
Or how is it gonna be different from how we do CDM in the past?
Well, the thing about the CDM is it's open for any student, even if they're not in gifted, in the gifted program. So one thing we want to do is do a better job with advertising the fact that you can actually participate in CDM, because some students don't know. And if you're unfamiliar with credit by demonstrated mastery, that means that a student can take an assessment and basically take the EOC for that course or whatever assessment early, and then they don't have to take that course as a prerequisite to take other courses. And that can be for any student. So it's not just gifted students. And another thing about the old plan, that it was a little dated and it wasn't aligned with the new policy. So it's actually, I don't know if that attachment was printed.
Which one?
CDM.
I don't think so.
Okay, but it goes
No, it's
through,
not in here.
it goes through the process. The timeline, of course, changes depending on when the school year begins. And then there are some testing requirements that have to happen. So we can't just say, oh, well, we're going to test you, but the testing coordinator will have to contact the RESA and put in a request, just like you order a test for EOG or EOC. But anybody can participate. Now, there are couple of requirements as far as grades, because you don't want to set kids up for failure. So you can't just say, oh, I want to, participate and I want to take, math 3. You would actually have to have a certain grade in, let's say, math 2 to be able to even see if you're eligible. And it's no harm if you take the test. Well, let me just say that if you do take the test and you don't pass it, so you don't get the credit, then as a district, we would have to figure out or make sure that the student had an opportunity to take the test, because I think this is like mid-September when you would take the test. So if you take math 2 in September, or math 3, and you don't pass, we have to make sure that it's available the next semester for that student.
School contact person for that is.
It would be the counselor, yes. So the student would have a conversation with the counselor and say, I want to take this pathway, or I'm interested in taking physics. So that means that they would have to have the other sciences out of the way. Can I take, biology? And then they would look at the student's scores and grades and say, sure, if the student had an opportunity and they passed it, they would get that credit for that course. And it helps with like prerequisites, especially if you have a student on a particular pathway and they need more math or more sciences or more foreign languages even.
We have a student that masters the CDM process.
Mm-hmm.
And they are beyond the math or the English, the math or the science that we have.
Mm-hmm.
How are we planning to make sure that that student get that higher level?
So we have NCBPS, we have North Carolina School of Science and Math. We actually have 2 students who are enrolled in those. And one is taking microeconomics. Can't remember the other, where was last semester, what he was enrolled in. So that's when we'll have to use those other platforms to ensure that the students have the opportunity to, matriculate.
And we're also trying to encourage our teachers to seek AP certification so that we can offer those advanced
Right.
courses on our campus.
So we do have one teacher who is signed up for UNC Asheville to get the AP certification. And that's, I think, June the 20th?
Yeah.
June 20th. And if you all want to know where CDM is, it is in standard 2, it might be practice G, unless they switched it around. Some of the practices switched around, but that's developed policies and procedures for a variety of acceleration opportunities, including, and then it has this CDM.
How are we gonna advertise this to our parents and our students?
Mhm.
And community email us a copy of the timeline.
Okay, yes.
And secondly, make sure we follow the MOU we already have in place. with the Alphabet
Oh, yeah, we
College.
can't, we know we can't,
Okay.
right. So the one teacher who's enrolled is a teacher here. Yes.
So they, CDM, they're going to us by UTI or is that something?
So it's like with the testing, it will say 10 days after the first day of school, or it has to be done within the first amount of days. So it will change, the actual date will change based on our school calendar, but the timeline or the length of time won't change. So it might say within the first 10 days, you have to make this request, or if it's after this, you have to wait till the next semester. So I actually email you all a copy of the CDM document, but that is linked in CCIP. Let's see, any other? That's in,
Is that paid?
yes. And we also screened all our second graders on March 30th, and we did pick up some students for that. What we're doing with our norms is changing them and making them local norms. So when you get your results, they'll say, okay, this is how these students compare to other students in the nation, right? So every student who took this assessment, this particular form and this level, but we're doing our top 5 and 10% at the school, which helps us catch more students.
we're not looking at a percentage like phase 4, the 85.
Mhm. Now, we still are, but we have more than one pathway. So we have 3 pathways for identification. The first one is aptitude. So that's just like your code guide. The second one is achievement. So that's looking at EOG, EOC scores or any state norm assessment. And then the third one is the portfolio process. So a lot of times that one is a student who's just maybe not a good test taker, but they are performing in the classroom. The teachers have made observations, and we're trying to focus. That one focuses a lot on the qualitative data instead of quantitative. And we have picked up a few students that way as well. Let me see any other highlights. Well, another thing that has changed from the old plan is now we do have the advisory board. So if you look on this one, well, from 2019, 2022, this is what some feedback that they gave us. We're trying to get some AIG champions at the schools. So that would be a position that a teacher would actually receive. Now, I'm not saying this has happened. This is what I hope will happen, that they will receive compensation for ensuring that things happen at the school. The state motto is all day, every day. So even when you don't have an AIG coordinator or specialist in the building, you have to ensure that those students are still receiving a differentiated education, no experience. And so that person would help with those, with the DEPs. So all of our DEPs are now in Power Schools. So we have no more paper DEPs. And we are, I'm saying we, but updating the ones who are going from elementary to middle and from middle to high, because of course the services look different. And the services are actually written out in the plan as well as the identification. I'm really trying to push out that students are not always, universally gifted. So it's okay if a student excels in reading and struggles in math. I think those are the highlights, but I love AIG, so I could talk about it all night. So feel free to stop me at any point. Anything else? Mhm. Mhm. Yes, we have annual reviews. So what happens is at the annual review, a parent will look at the services and say, okay, I'm fine with this. So they say, this didn't work. This didn't work for my child. We need to switch this up. But it has to happen when they go from one grade to another, because we don't even offer the same things at the school, or that, let's say a middle school student. What that's gonna look different is the consultative services versus a pull out. That if the delivery is different.
Any other question?
Not identified, but we do have a few students who receive provisional services, but they have not been officially identified. And that's twice itself. So that dual exceptionality. And another thing that's new in the plan is spelled out with the transfer process. So before it wasn't as clear what happens when a student transfers in, and we just fleshed that out a little more. Yeah.
If a student transfer into us and they are already gifted, the school they're coming from, say if you look at the 8th, they come to us in the 70s. I know we have to complete the service. What are we going to do because they came to us if they come to us?
So the way it is written in the new plan, if a student comes to us, they receive services for the rest of that school year. Because what we don't want to do is de-gift. So what we'll say is, okay, they'll go through the portfolio pathway. And if that student can demonstrate whatever, they need to based on the goals that are set, then that student will be in. Now for out of state, if it's not the COGAT, or if it's not, and when this actually happened, we did have a student that transfer in from another state. So that student received services, the student took the COGAT,
and score at the level that we needed and continue to receive services. But we don't say, oh, no, you have to wait because, you know, we do a fall and a spring roundup. We don't just do random testing. So if a student, a parent comes and says whatever, or a teacher, then that student is able to join and receive the same services. So we provide the services even without identification.
So if you do the roundup, and then there's some roundup is what we're expecting.
So roundup is K-12.
So we're going, okay, you're going across the board. So if we have a student that needs to, what you're saying is, because we do the roundup, there's a student that we get it out, and it's not roundup time. We're not going to accept, even though the is recommended, it shows that the student, there's a potential there. As far as, you say, we don't.
Well, here's the thing, we don't have the materials to do. If you all know, we're using Riverside Insights now, which we have to pay for that service. So we don't have the test to screen them, except for when we set or schedule a test in Riverside, because now we're using COGAT Form 7, but the paper copies we have are COGAT Form 6, and that's null and void. So we don't have a way to test students except for doing those windows, because we don't have any paper and pencil copies. So we have to schedule the test with Riverside. And as you know, we have 2 times we have a head count. One is November 30th and one is April 30th. So if we can't just go to Riverside, not with the package we have, and just say, oh, I have 2 students, let me test them. So they have to be tested when we schedule a test in the platform. Yeah, we don't have paper pencil. We had COGAT 6, but it's so dated. Okay. Yes. We have 57 students, which is good because the state wants us to have at least 4% of our ADM identified, and that's for anybody. And we have 684 students, and 57 of those students are identified as AIG.
We have any instances of cases that are already.
Yes, we do. We have a few. And a lot of those, they were impasse, but now they're officially AIG because they put the, remember the, when we did the universal screening on the 30th of March.
Another question?
You said what now? Oh, Miss Field. Miss Field. Oh. Oh, okay.
We good.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
I come back with the federal programs updates. I knew we probably wanted some ESSA information. So want to say the CARES Act worked with interim finance officer, Ms. Nan Wall this week, and cleaning up 163. We had to do some little moving around because we kind of went over, but that was okay because we had other line items to put things in. Mr. Williams, in response, our ESSA 171, each one of the schools were awarded funds in order to use at the school level. So I would like to let you know that Weldon STEM High School has purchased cafeteria furniture. The seatings in the cafeterias will be, whereas the students can't really move the chairs will be affixed to the floor, as well as waiting room furniture. The purpose of the waiting room furniture, because with COVID, we have to sanitize and wipe things down, and it's hard to wipe down fabric. So they've ordered some vinyl leather sitting furniture for the lobby out there. So when parents and community members come in, the chairs can be sanitized. RVET has purchased 8 picnic tables for outdoor learning at RVET out of their ESSA money, which is the ESSA 2 money. So those purchase orders have been processed, and we're waiting on those items to come out of. ESSA 3, I thought everybody would want to know, Mr. Freeman and I reached out to check on our vehicles, because as we know, if we don't receive them by the end of the fiscal year, we would have to cancel the purchase orders and redo purchase orders. So we just wanted to know what the update on. So we should have 2 Nissan Altimas delivered to us mid-June. The trucks, on the other hand, are still on being produced. Everything is behind, but they did assure us that those Altimas, which are 2, we should expect them in mid-June. School improvement grant, I want to kind of highlight, we just applied for and was approved for Welton Elementary Global Academy. Some additional ESSA money, PRC 195, the elementary school is receiving $48,833 that will be used for SEL, professional development, and field trips. Then our consolidated application is very different this year. Normally we are getting ready and processing, but it opens up on June 1st. So that's mainly the Title I. Rural and low-income schools will be later, but everything has kind of been pushed back. But once we get the application open, we'll have a deadline of August to complete those consolidated applications. And then wanted to highlight, if you visit our district website, we have parent on demand. And so really pushing this, and when we speak with parents and staff, have shared all of the information with the principals, which is a way that we can document, when we talk parent engagement, we're talking more than parents showing up for PTA meetings and those type of activities. These are actual, our parents can go out on parent on demand, and thanks to our technology department, you can see, and I've circled it in red, where parents can click on that and actually find items that will assist them in helping their child. It'll be items that are helping them to understand different areas, or how can I help? So it's an engagement piece. But the other benefit to parent on demand is our principals can go out there at any time and see what parents are actually out there, what information, and the parents, on the other hand, will get a certificate for completion of what they've completed. It also can be used by teachers. If a parent call and say, let's say an elementary student, phonics, there are things up here that can help the parent with helping their child with phonics. Math, there are things that are up here that can give you things that you can do at home with your children in order to assist them with those tools. So that's on our district website. And that's all I have on federal programs. And unless you have any additional questions. Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. Wood. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, and you asked part of, but what I was trying to see if there was money that had been released to the school that the principals were at liberty to use as they saw fit. I know some things have to be used, certain things might have to be used for furniture, has to be used for furniture. Or was there money that could be put into, say, a general fund so that it could be used for different funds?
I think
That's some money, but it could be used in a general.
Right, it doesn't even have to be
Right,
just
right.
a Title I money.
Right.
so. The schools have their Title I funds, but again, the federal programs, and maybe we were talking about, maybe I know when Ms. Dameron was having like different pots of monies that were that finance was giving out allotments, but the principals already have their allotments from when we relate to federal programs. And 100% of the federal programs have guidelines that we do have to use. They cannot just go into the local funds. The Title I money, they when they do their needs assessment, the principals and the school improvement team members determine where those funds, how they'll be spent, where they've had what budget line items they want those in. And then with the ESSA monies, those ESSA monies as well have guidelines that it has to be followed. So, and I've given them like little circles. All of the principals will tell you, I've given them circles that before they begin to spend the money, it's got to match those circles. There are different circles for ESSA, and then they have different circles for the consolidated regular federal funding as well.
Anything? Thank you so much. And before we move on from that, this AIG plan that Ms. Martin, okay,
Correct.
she shared with us we're supposed to take action. So. We should have done that, but the report was all together, so I wanted to wait. Anyone have any final questions or is Mark, because again, we're supposed to take action. This plan is for 2022 until 2025.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the 2022-2025 AIT plan coordinator.
Motion has been moved by Ms. Hale and seconded by Mrs. Bird Robinson that we approve our AIG plan for 2022 until 2025. And I suspect this starts July 1, 2022 and ends June 30, 2025. correct?
Yes.
All right. You heard that motion. Is there any further discussion on readiness? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, would you let it be known by your voting sign of aye? Aye. Any opposed? The voting sign of nay? All right. Motion passes unanimously. Let the record reflect unanimous approval by our entire board that is present. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. All right, we're moving on to letter F now under reports, and that is Mr. Futrell.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Oh, Ms. Fields, I apologize. I didn't know you were coming first. All right.
I am Benita Fields. I am the Exceptional Children's Director and Preschool Director. So I'm here tonight to share some updates with you from my programs. So here we have the IDA grant 2022-23. It opened May 1st. The public notice ran in the Herald from May 7th through the 10th. The public comments accepted will be next week, May 23rd through the 27th. And the final submission date is May 31st. The occupational therapy summer contract is on the agenda tonight for the compensatory services this summer. Services to be rendered are 157 hours. The services run parallel with summer programs. Also, the physical therapy services, this contract will not be renewed at the provider's request for this school year. The speech services are now in contract negotiations. Yes.
Have you started the process of
We do have one company that we have reached out to. No, we don't. They just recently left, from my understanding.
have tickets to the services of the summer to make up for those?
Right now, we don't have any calculated, no compensatory services for physical therapy. Have you heard anything any differently, Dr.
No.
Carpenter? No, right now, what's identified is OT. next.
Okay, sir.
But we also have some speech. We do. Yes. Yes, I spoke with the speech therapist today. Well, actually, the therapist assistant. And she is willing to work for us this summer. And she actually said she would be glad to during June and July. So working towards that is also. Right.
In that respect, if our students need them, of course, that's in line with whatever their IEP requires. Of course, we have to make sure that we have that. So I'll just say, you and the department, we all continue to work aggressively, as you said, that you're reaching out and doing what we need to do. You have somebody already identified. for that particular service. I think the sooner we have that nailed down, going into summer, the better off it's going to be for the department, all together. And I appreciate it. I know we appreciate you, handling that and making sure that we have those things in place. Any other questions?
All right, my next updates will cover preschool program. So the transition program went well at the elementary school on May 17th at 10 a.m. on the preschool playground. Halifax Warren Smart Start provided transition backpacks for each pre-K student to help bridge the learning gap during the summer. The application process is ongoing. We have 22 completed applications to date, and we have 8 awaiting CDSA referral status from the transition part B to C. I'm sorry, that's backwards, C to B. Translation C to B. Anyone have questions? Right, the students have already been identified through Child Development Services Agency as having developmental delays. Once the child turns 3, those children are referred to the school districts, and that's where we pick up services. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Fields. Ms. Fields, before you leave, let me say, I think you were introduced our last meeting, but this is your first time presenting, so we certainly want to welcome you and look forward to you leading this department as you are striving to do now. Great things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fields. And I can say I've been fairly new myself, and Ms. Fields is new, but she's a great addition thus far, and great to have to work with in our department, student services. So just want to update you all on a few of our student services program areas. So board chair, board members, interim superintendent, Dr. Carpenter, hopefully you all will allow just a few minutes for this update. So I can't say how excited I am this time of year always when we get a chance to celebrate students who have certainly made many accomplishments. And we get a chance to do that with our seniors especially. As many of you all know, and you've probably seen even on any social media, on May 1st, that is our national decision day. And that is the day that we, as a society, we celebrate students who are making decisions about what they're going to do beyond high school. And I'm so proud to say that in Weldon City Schools, we also honor that. And on May 2nd and May 3rd, our seniors, both here at Weldon STEM High Career Academies and RVET respectively, on May 2nd and May 3rd, celebrate their seniors for their accomplishments and the decisions that they have made in either pursuing education or furthering their education at 2-year colleges, 4-year colleges, and even going in directly into the workforce. And it was great that students were able to do that amongst their peers and be celebrated and celebrate together with their peers. So we, as I think about just even those who are going to college, those who are celebrated, there are not many within the 16 colleges and universities that are not represented from somewhere. Students who are going to somewhere from Weldon. And so that's something we should really be proud of, that the students that we are preparing to take that journey beyond Weldon City Schools. Also, I know we recognized a brilliant young lady tonight for the Crawley Scholarship. And I also had an opportunity to be a part of a panel where there were 2 additional students. I just want to make sure that we recognize who did an awesome job in representing Weldon City Schools as finalists for that same scholarship. And they just did they just represented Weldon City Schools great at a table with other school districts that I was certainly proud. I wear that proud honor every day in Weldon City Schools, but to sit at that table and watch the students of Weldon City Schools represent us so well, it was quite an honor. So. Moving along, as we, another program area update, I was invited to Halifax Community College as in my new role to learn about the various programs that they have to offer our students through the Career and College Promise program, mainly in that role because in supporting school counselors, we know that they help provide students access to these type of opportunities. And so even though we recognize it's a multi-departmental working to get our students access, however, in student services role, school counselors help support that in providing access. And I say we are uniquely in a great, unique opportunity. I was met by one of the representatives from Halifax Community College Career and College Promise Program, and given all the offerings that we have, but also given a tour of some of the facilities, state-of-the-art facilities that are available for our students to take advantage of. And we really want to tap into that to make sure that we're maximizing all of our students having the opportunity to do that. And so really I'm looking forward again to enhancing, strengthening those type of partnerships and ensuring that we are providing every opportunity for our students to have access to those types of programs right here while they're in high school. As part of our Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, continue to work closely with Ms. Neville to make sure that our students who are participating in that program are benefiting and meeting the goals as outlined through our agreement with that. We do have 8 students who will serve as student interns for this summer in various organizations across our community. So we're excited about the opportunity that they're going to have to get that type of experience. And I'm also very excited to continue to work with Ms. Neville as we work together for this update to just plan for next year and think about how we can even really put some additional pieces in place where we can ensure that we are meeting the metrics that we are outlined in terms of the different goals of that particular program. One being, we know we want to even expand beyond providing opportunities to students here at Weldon STEM High School, but also RVEC students having opportunities and with an identified caseload of students that we are monitoring and really looking at metrics to ensure we're meeting outcomes through those desired goals that we establish with some one-on-one check-ins that includes one-on-one check-ins with students, monthly programming that might include, different assessments to help students understand what careers they might be interested in, different types of job shadowing, different types of, so we see again, different opportunities to partner. There's been a multi-departmental venture to ensure that our students are taking advantage of these types of programs. And so again, strengthening that through a plan that we hope to be able to monitor through metrics where we are understanding the outcomes of those programs. Moving to social emotional learning. We are, as Dr. Carpenter spoke to earlier, preparing for summer learning. And one of the program components of summer learning is social emotional learning. And I couldn't help be remiss a little bit if I didn't say, when we spoke to that mission, we talked about preparing caring citizens. And if that's new language, social emotional learning is, somewhat new to some. And so, but what we're doing is preparing caring citizens when we are developing them in social emotional learning. And we hope that through our summer programming, we'll be training, working with those staff members to ensure that we are creating welcoming and inclusive activities to begin our day, engaging activities, brain breaks and transitions to ensure that students have opportunities to check the wellness of themselves And we have optimistic closures to close out our day as part of our SEL programming so that we are leading ourselves towards creating caring citizens. The disciplinary alternatives piece, I was been invited to participate in the JCPC meeting just last week. My first JCPC meeting. Again, had an opportunity to engage with fabulous community stakeholders who have a vested interest in ensuring that our students have successful outcomes. In particular, one particular program that they oversee that we're going to benefit from is that teen court program. We know that sometimes when the SEL doesn't allow us to make always good decisions, there are opportunities to still be restorative in how we correct those types of errors and mistakes. And so teen court is a way in which we do that. And we have a program that's in the county, and Weldon City Schools participates in that because JCPC is a county program, but they oversee that along with other districts within our county. I learned that we have actually 2 students from Weldon City Schools who have leadership roles and are participating as it's called student advocates to support the implementation of the program right here from Weldon City Schools. And lastly, because of an update of a program, Mental Health Awareness Month is May. And I can say that on yesterday evening, I worked closely with our district school social worker, Ms. Whitaker. We planned a event right here where we're standing and sitting right now. We had students and staff and family come out to reflect upon and get an understanding of mental health so that we are, as a community, destigmatizing mental health and getting an understanding of what it means to be well, to be our best selves, because we're all exposed to some levels of stress or trauma that could at any time move us in a place where it's disruptive to our life. And so what we were trying to do is really begin to educate and continue to educate the community on the importance of mental health and wellness so that we can be our best selves. And we need that in order to, we know students need that in order to engage in learning. We know staff need that in order to be their best selves, to present themselves to students every day. And we know how important it is for our families to really engage in that way. So those are just some program updates and student services. Any questions at this time? Thank you.
Very direct.
Okay.
In my opinion, very thorough. You
All right.
really haven't left anything for me to add.
Yes, sir. Continue to do that. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Futrell.
Thank you all.
We look forward to that continuation.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Right.
Next we have Mr. Miller.
Yeah, I was going to say
We got Mr. Miller here.
He's coming.
Mr. Miller, you said you were gonna be standing right here by the side.
Oh, my God.
Thank you, Mr. Futura. Good evening, board, chairman, vice chairman, interim superintendent. On to school health. All right, within our testing program as of today, we have 1 additional participant under the Weldon Elementary Global Academy. That brings our district-wide total of participants from 296 to 297. Our update on positive cases within the students. We just had a recent case at RVEC, so that brings our total up to 12 at RVEC. And that last case was this Monday, the 16th of this month. And then our staff cases, we had 2, one last month and 1 this month. That last case was this past Wednesday, so the 11th of this month. And both of those have completed their isolation and are back to their work, their employment. So our monthly face covering review. We adopt the policy regarding the use of face coverings by employees and students. The governing body of Senate Bill 654, Session Law 2021, 130, page 9, public school unit shall vote at least once a month on whether the face covering policy should be modified. And our current policy is all K-12 staff, students, and visitors have the full option to wear face coverings or face shield and mask under all indoor settings and bus settings, including central office. And the board action for this month is to continue the current policy or amend the current policy.
Yes. It's been motioned by Ms. Kay Robinson and seconded by Ms. Tiffany Hale that we continue with the policy as is with no changing to that, which would be the option one, making everything optional. Buses, indoor, outdoor settings, and including the central office. Heard that motion. Is there any further discussion on readiness? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, let it be known by your voting sign of aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Ayes have it. So ordered. Let the record reflect unanimous approval by 7-member board president on tonight. Thank you so much, Mr. Miller.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you seen a decrease in our students wearing the mask now that it's optional?
Yes, at first it started out with I'd say majority of the students were wearing the mask, and then it slowly pulled back to where around maybe I estimate about 5 to 10% of the students wearing masks.
5 to 10 are wearing the mask.
Are wearing, yes, ma'am.
Do we still have our masks on the
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. They kind of bypassed it, but the temperature checks are still stationed. But everybody just kind of walks past it, and it's more so optional. But I do recommend they still do it. But I don't know if the current policy regarding that, I think it's still a proper protocol. Since this is still there, we might as well at least take another one. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
Y'all have a great night.
All right, same to you, sir. All right, moving on to G. Sims. Operation. Yes.
Chair Spites, Vice Board Chair Bird Robinson, Interim Superintendent Dr. Wendy Carpenter, board members, and everyone else present. Hello, good evening. I know on the agenda it speaks to operations, but I first wanted to share with you some information about our upcoming career fair. And folders are at each of your seating areas for you to look at our career fair. That will be on Thursday, June 2nd at the Halifax Community College. And we will have 2 sessions. Our morning session will be from 8:30 until 1 p.m. Then we will return and have an afternoon session from 4 to 7:30 p.m. And this will be a job fair for certified and classified vacancies in our district. And we did highlight some of the vacancies that we have now that we're really looking to fill. Those are the ones that are specified on the flyer. And also, we have worked to publicize this event. Ms. Austin has worked to publicize this event on various social media sites, and we have ordered signs to go at the schools and at the central office. We have flyers out in the community and at the school. So hopefully this will be a well-attended event. In addition to that, if you look at the second sheet, we have some recruitment bonus information. And we've had conversation in the past as far as the importance of recruiting highly qualified individuals to Weldon City Schools. And one of the ways to do that is to ensure that we offer competitive bonuses to individuals who might seek employment with Weldon City Schools. And if you'll notice, we have a breakdown between classified and certified staff. Depending upon their years of service, then there's a certain amount that will be offered to individuals in these particular areas. And we also have looked at dividing these bonuses in 4 equal payments. And persons who come to the job fair, principals will be there, directors will be there. And if someone is interviewed and we say, hey, we want you to come on board, we want you to join us, then I'm working with our board attorney to ensure that we have pre-employment contract letters that will be pending board approval and background checks, but we can secure employment on the day of the career fair. And also to be able to secure that we have MOUs, memorandums of understanding, so that persons who are offered employment at that time will be able to sign that form, and it will have a breakdown of how they will be paid these bonuses. And that information is shared with you, but just to highlight that, the first payment will be in the first month's check of the school year 2022-2023. The second installment will be in the December check 2022. The third installment will be in the March check 2023. And the last installment of the bonus will be paid in the last month of employment, depending upon if they're 11 months, 12 months of the 2022-2023 school year. Any questions?
So I see that some of these positions are posted on our vacancies website. But they can't apply for them because they have to be like, so is that something places also do?
So I haven't placed any of the jobs there. Our former HR consultant placed the jobs there. And so once we have job descriptions for those, they'll be linked to that. And I've been working with Dr. Carpenter to get the instructional coach positions on the website. Once we get the job descriptions, and we'll add them to teacher match. But the ask was to make sure that they're there so people will know that we have them available. Is that correct, Dr. Carpenter?
Yes. I see that one of the.
And Ms. Robinson, if I made the reference was made to the former HR consultant. I think all of us remember that there were several job postings that, whether it was principals at school, you know, had to be hired in school, it was not all of the information as for the job, if we remember that, had not been, you know, gathered, or they hadn't decided on what the entire job description was going to be. So we did have several vacancies that were just listed, but because the job had not actually, the description of the job hadn't been detailed at that time. So when you're talking about hyperlinking, where you could actually go and, you know, apply for it, that had not taken place in some of those jobs, because the job description, whether it was central office or whether it was from the school, all of that information had not come together just yet. So I know that there are some that we don't have full job descriptions for, because when the person clicks on that job, they need to be able to not only apply, but they need to see what the job description is, so they will actually know whether they want to apply or not. And no need of wasting their time or our time, you know, whether it's from HR or the school level, if they read the description and they know they don't qualify.
Yeah, that's how they have job descriptions.
Yes.
This is how they make people for.
Right, so Dr. Carpenter is working on sharing those with me.
Ms. Sims, I do want to ask one question. And all of us remember when we were talking about our budget, we were talking about money that we had left over to recruit people to, to come to work at the district. And I'm glad that we have this tonight, so we, can kind of get some people that they should for the job fair, with the memorandum of understanding and all. I like this, but my question is, Ms. Sims, okay, person sign a contract for a year. That's memorandum of understanding, and providing that the background check and all comes out.
Right.
Let's say they work from August to December. They will get those installments in August, their first check, and they will get an installment with this recruitment bonus in December. But let's say they come back and they give a 30-day notice in January. So they would not get that recruitment bonus in March.
Oh, no. So that's why we kind of looked at strategically having a payout with the schedule, so we wouldn't have to try to recoup money from persons who do just what you mentioned. That was the whole purpose of it. Job description and everything in place. Prior to becoming licensed.
A job list, and it's a good, you can click on it and actually apply to the job description. Everything.
So since you're being transparent, I'll be even more transparent. Our HRMS system for the district has to be cleaned up. We have a lot of data and records back in 2013, 2015. So you have to have a particular job code for position. Some of those job codes are not in the district. So what we're having to do is to go back and try to clean that up, because ideally you're supposed to have the job code before you even post a position. And then we have to have the pay code, then we have to have the salary schedule as well. So all of that has to go into it basically prior to it being posted. So we didn't want to hold that up. We wanted to go ahead and let people know that it's out there. This is what we're going to have. So hopefully we'll have all of that done before we have the career fair. That's the goal. Any other questions?
Board members, I do want to ask, and I'm on. Attorney Ramey. I see him, but
I'm having a lot of trouble hearing the audio right now, so I missed most of that conversation. But if you have a question,
I do have a question. I do have a question. We have a a recruitment bonus salary schedule in front of us. And my question is, does this require board action, or can we just accept this for information, as it may vary in the application of it, because it's broken down with years of experience and things of that nature? I guess years of service would be a factor in this as well. Years of experience, educational status,
Yes,
all
all
of
that
that,
has to
and
be
the
verified.
need
Mhm.
for the job.
Yes.
Do we have to actually approve this recruitment bonus schedule, or can we just receive this for information? And the superintendent, in making recommendations for actually.
I heard most of your question, Reverend Sykes. I didn't hear much of the preceding conversation. This audio has been going out in and out for me for a while here. But if the proposal was a bonus schedule that would require expenditure of funds, I do think it should be brought to the board for approval, unless there's already some specific delegated authority to the administration. So I think it would be best for the board to vote to anytime that anything that involves additional pay to employees. I think it's best practice be brought to the board, unless it's quite clear the board's already delegated that authority to the administration.
Okay, so we need. I think that'll be the cleanest way. Right. He said that something.
To make sure we have everything in place. I know we want to put it out there, but before we put it out there, we can.
We're having some sound issues, I think. Attorney Raymond, we're having some sound issues. Our technology department, they're working on it now.
Thanks. I heard you just then. Didn't hear
Okay.
before.
Okay. All right. But you basically answered, if we are approving something for recruitment bonuses, it would be the thing to approve this by the board.
Yes, sir.
That we see. Yeah, if you want to. Please understand this 2022, 23 school. Right. And I'm just asking this now. But I said specifically 20. After that, you might, do that as well to really get somebody to come on, not just the job thing.
For the upcoming, so this is so we can have this available at the career fair, but say in June. So we'll be able to offer this bonus for just 2022, 2023. Yes, just for that, just this upcoming year.
Motion has been moved and properly seconded that we accept this recruitment bonus schedule as we see it here for our 2022-2023 school year. Motion by Ms. Hale, seconded by Ms. Robinson. You've heard that motion. Any further discussion or unreadiness? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, would you let it be known by your voting sign of aye? Aye. Any opposers, nay? Ayes have it. Let the record reflect unanimous approval by all 7 board members present. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So we have one other piece tonight. We're looking at, of course, as we were saying, recruitment. filling vacancies. And we have a gentleman who- he's been here since 5:30, patiently waiting. And Mr. Tillman is participate learning. And we're looking at our K-5 vacancies, especially our elementary school, which is the Weldon Elementary Global Academy. So with participate learning, we will be able to hire teachers to come and work with our scholars at the Global Academy and participate and totally get involved in a Global Leaders Program. And it would not just be for the teachers who are coming to us with participate, it would be a school-wide model. So it would definitely help us with the whole Global Academy that we're trying to promote. Wake County Public Schools. And so he is a school person, and he's very passionate about this program. And Halifax County and Warren County have the dual language program. Is that correct? And also there is a contract in the folder, and this was provided from our board attorney, and it's the master services agreement. And if this is something the board wants to move forward with, we have a contract in place. Even though it has another school district's name on the contract, we would be able to just put Weldon City Schools here and move forward with our agreement with Participate Learning if we decide to do so. So, Mr. Till.
Thank you very much, Muriel. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Superintendent Carpenter, I welcome the opportunity to be here tonight. It's getting late, so I'm going to try to give you a few pieces of the work that we do as a company here at Participate Learning, and then field any questions you have. Quick about us, we are a 35-year-old company here in North Carolina. Our main purpose bring them to North Carolina to teach in our schools. Following kind of the idea of a visiting international faculty at the university level, our company was founded to do that same work in K-12 education across the state of North Carolina. We do that today in nearly 100 districts and serve as the J-1 visa sponsor for nearly 1,400 teachers in North Carolina, which we proudly partner with districts, like I said, across our state. This is kind of the basic slide that shows what we do. First and foremost, we recruit international teachers and bring them to North Carolina. You currently have 2 in your district right now, Participate Learning teachers that came several years ago and will finish out their visa stay here in Weldon City Schools. At one point, we had as many as 9 teachers in the district. So we look forward to the opportunity to potentially increase that number again and bring future international teachers to Weldon City Schools. In addition to that, you may, if you've worked with the district for some time, where the dual language program is something that we do and support over 100 schools also across the state of North Carolina. And those immersion programs are in both Spanish and Mandarin, and we support both the learning implementation plans for those schools, as well as professional development for teachers. What I'm really here tonight to talk a little bit more about from the hiring standpoint to support hiring, particularly in K-5, is the Global Leaders Framework. And this is something that we don't often say the pandemic gave us a chance to do something, but it really gave us a chance to build something that we feel like is an excellent opportunity for a school that's already got global in its name, in a way that we can partner with the school district here to provide a framework for increased global education in Weldon City Schools, particularly the Global Academy. So we look at the global learner life cycle and we say a few things. Global competencies are something that we want our K-5 students in our partner schools to be aware of. Then we want to build global citizens, and that's where the middle school piece comes in. And eventually, we want students to take action with the idea of living in a local community, but acting globally, understanding that there is an opportunity for them both locally as well as throughout the world. One of the things that, and I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna skip a little you, just because there's a lot of slides. One of the things I want to say is this is what the framework does for our students, the students in Global Leaders schools, is we teach them first and foremost to pay attention to the world. That might be the world right here in Weldon, North Carolina, but how does that world, the local economy, jobs that are created here in Weldon impact them, their families, and the rest of the world? So we want them to be able to pay attention to things that are local and then global. And then the next piece we like our students to understand is how to get connected. What is it that they currently, even in their kindergarten, first, second, third grade classrooms, they can do to make connections throughout the world? And how can they identify themselves as being connected both within their community and outside their community? And finally, the last piece, we want them to be able to take action, do something with that information you've been given. You know, you saw great examples of leadership from your students here tonight and some of the awards they received, and they're going to go off and do great things and represent Weldon City Schools and everything they do in the future. This is an opportunity to enhance that work at the Global Academy each and every day with the Leaders Framework. And so one of the pieces that we have built that we feel really confident supplies support for all K-5 elementary students is under that idea of paying attention, feeling connected, and taking action is the social emotional learning that our students are faced with, those challenges as well as those opportunities that they see each and every day in their schools. And so what we have devised is a way to connect all of those programs, pieces, ideas, thoughts that we're talking about already here, to put them under one umbrella. And that umbrella is global education. And with that, we feel students can understand these global competencies, understand empathy, flexibility, ability to communicate, and making those global connections, which under the Global Leaders Framework allows them to do so. We use the UN Sustainable Development Goals as project-based learning opportunities for our students to take action, to dive into the work, whether it's clean water, women's rights, any number of the other UN Sustainable Development Goals that allows them the opportunity to not just read or pretend that they're taking action, but really dive into a problem and look for solutions that not only impact them, but the rest of the world. This is how we like to kind of categorize that work, because you see all kinds of programs in schools, whether it be behavior support, PBIS, CASEL, PBL, college and career readiness, which has been brought up several times this evening. Building the school culture and climate around global education allows all of this to come under the umbrella of global learning, and then fosters that work of student excitement within the curriculum itself. So that all sounds very salesy, and it's kind of my job, so I have to sound that way, even though I don't like that part of my job. So what I'm talking about here is an opportunity for a global academy already in name to partner with us around this idea of global learning and build that community of global educators. So it's more than just buying a box off the shelf that says, here, go try this. It's the new thing to try. What we do very simply is teach educators how to think differently and how to plan lessons that will impact their students on a global scale. So a very simple example, and then I'll wrap up. So we could do an elementary math problem of 3 + 3. We could also, and then we could say, what's the answer? And we could put that on the board and we could make it. Or we could say, in this basket, there's 3 empanadas. And in this basket, there's 3 more empanadas. Now, how many empanadas do we have? Now, how many students in kindergarten know what an empanada is? I don't know. But I bet at least one hand in that classroom would go up and say, what is an empanada? They might not even pronounce it properly. But now we have a conversation about something more than just a math problem. We have a cultural, we have a food question. We have a way that students can say, I don't know what that is, but I'm really curious and want to know. And if you have an educator from Columbia standing there, they will say, well, that's what I eat every day for breakfast. And all of a sudden, we have opened the door to a world that students hadn't seen before. Now the opportunity to engage through dialogue, conversation, problem-based learning, project-based learning, and opportunities to grow and expand. So we work with teachers to build that capacity to expand. We don't add things to their day, because no one wants to add things to a teacher's day. We want them to think they're planning those lessons. When they gather together in their PLCs and talk about what's our next step, what's our next model or lesson that we're going to plan for, we're going to talk about how do we now globalize that lesson to really make an impact on kids' learning. All right, so that wasn't a salesy, it was a little more educator based, but I just wanted to share a little bit of information at a late hour in the evening, and know that with the opportunities we already do have with Weldon City Schools, and know that we do have educators here in the district, we would love to support your hiring needs, as Rachel mentioned, particularly in K-5. We specialize in elementary, ESL, and world language teachers. So any of that work, welcome the opportunity to expand our role. I would be happy to- But I have shared some information. This framework, I'm happy to share more down the road. Address this if you have any more specific. We currently have an MSA in place. Thus the teachers are programming. This would be the latest version of the contract. But currently, we because of the auto renew provision within the contract, we're still working together as partners. As we speak. Thank you very much. Board Chair, good evening, Vice Board Chair, and board members. One update I would GPS navigation. Know you at first, but very informational, very direct, and they gave us some good points on even on today. I found that Edgelodge offers on just their device allow us to keep the devices. We would never own the device, but we would pay for it. That's why the prices. I'm sorry, it's all new hardware. I've noticed that does not include the hardware. Entourage had a problem with it. Send us one overnight. Get us back. So we won't have the pickups to how to meet it. When we buses. It's a bus right now. And the way of trying to work out. Where our central office cars do not have the actual tablet on, there's no need for that. Time and attendance, it's just GPS and navigation. I don't know if they have not the proposal for it. But the initial cost is $41,253. And it's a 3-year contract with Edgelodge versus a 5-year contract with no. So we will only also pay the license part of $13,728 a year in that 3-year window. So, I guess I'm done.
Okay,
So,
all right. The initial starting would be 41,253 the first year, and then second year, that's when you drop back to the 13.
Yes, sir. And there's a lot of some of this stuff, like we talked about getting an additional activity bus, that was included in the because we're not getting it, don't know when we're gonna get it. In 3 months, she said, I asked them to take it off, so we'll be paying for services. The hardware, the driver time and attendance, the hardware. Those things will not be upfront costs right now. They will come later on when they come and actually install the door stop. You know, all the door open, all this stuff. We will get the GPS once we sign the contract. They will open right into it. Insert it. Tournament alone, we talked yesterday about it, and I just went back, like I said, and just deleted a bus because there was no need to be paying for it. Right. Yes. It's the same exact thing. It's just that we just say for instance we signed a contract today or made the agreement today and we make payment tomorrow, then Monday, Tuesday we should have a device where it will start. The conference is for NCPTA is June the 27th. A representative will be there from there, and I'm taking that class so that I can. Yes. I don't believe so. Not with all this going on in the district. Yes. Yes. I know that the cars, some of the stuff, have any idea?
Well, I was kind of waiting until they all got picked up. One of the vehicles were sold for the Dodge Charger. 2010 was sold for $3,300, but the guy did not want to pay for it until he cranked it. It listed on Gov Deals as was running when parked. He didn't believe that, so he wanted to crank it. He came several times, wanted, he's from Georgia, just a whole lot of stuff. He never came back to get it. So in waiting, get titles processed, I don't have a total figure of what we sold and how much we sold it for the group, our nutrition stuff, maintenance stuff, transportation with the vehicles. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I do. Gov Deals came out and took pictures. They posted it on their website, which we have access to. When the vehicle was auctioned off at the close end of auction, they were paid. They paid Gov Deals. They had 12% that they, got from the sale. That was in the contract already. We already been dealing with Gov Deals, when I came on board. Whatever was left from that amount minus the 12%, they funnel that money to finance. Is we all in lieu of in the together. Currently we have one vehicle waiting to be picked up. And that's the mini activity bus.
Let me say that. Did you? No. I heard you say that you don't have a total yet because everything has not been sold. That's well, whatever. That's one thing. We like too much finances and all. But and I hear what Ms. Jenkins is saying. So I think what would be and Dr. Dawson, if we could get something up to date, break it down, so child nutrition, maintenance, transportation. Yeah. Everything. I do. Everything.
That bus is back up and running. This was foul picked up April the 5th. Correctly. We made repairs. We sent pictures, emails of the T18 where I repaired the bus, the number of hours, the parts, receipts to the insurance company. Our recollection that has been paid back to the district as well. It was more than that. I've seen it as well, and I'm not aware of who's responsible for it.
Where our school bus, and buses are food bus.
I'm looking at everybody.
Transportation takes care of.
No problem. But I mean, my thing is too, how often are we gonna do this if it's not housed at central office?
It's how some should be expecting a bus on.
It's not a bus, sir.
Okay. So be here.
Okay. Okay, so
Okay, 4 wheels on. So it may not be a bus, but you get the drift, what I'm saying. Big word.
okay. I would recommend that, and I said this in previous meetings, that we find somebody to help along with this, sir. I am currently the only one in transportation, and it's too much for me to do. I would say that. As maybe you don't know, but I did make sure that Weldon Elementary Global Academy went to Norfolk today, to the Spirit of Norfolk, in a clean bus inside and out, detailed inside and out. I did do that, 2 buses. We are working again, maybe not to the capacity of ones, but it's only me. I'm only one person. And if I don't see it, what else can I do? Okay. And Mr. Wells, I do believe you know what I walked into when I came to this district.
We're gonna get it taken care of. Let's do this. We do have child nutrition director here. And if you would come, we can take care of this tonight. I've heard everything, but Ms. Garner, if you could, as the director of child nutrition, because your drivers with child nutrition, they are driving, but whether it's weekly, and I heard what you saying, Mr. Wick, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly or whatever it is, can you make sure that that the child nutrition vehicle that's delivering food, that it gets to central office, bring it to central office, so transportation can actually look at that vehicle if it needs wash or gas or whatever it is, because I do know that vehicle, and we all know that vehicle, but I agree with what you're saying. The transportation needs to look at it, but if transportation does not know the schedule of it, so can you work that out with transportation department with Mr. Freeman to make sure, and I'm gonna say at least once a week, that right. So he's aware of it, and it's not like he's looking for it, but it's actually brought in, and then that helps transportation respond to that, but also child nutrition to make sure, again, the van is clean, the maintenance of it, whatever it is, tires or whatever needs to be done, that is looked at. But if you could do that, I think that would kind of help, the situation. And I'm not gonna say once a week, but it shouldn't go, a whole month or whatever, however it needs to come in.
8530 went. It's an 8-bit wash. Just
It's all right. But if we can put that in place, let's put that in place. And we have these 2 departments making sure that the work order is in to get the vehicle washed, whatever. Go ahead. Yeah. Dr. Carpenter, can you,
I have no idea.
Dr. Carpenter is taking note of all of that, and basically, I understand the situation where we are right now, but at the same time, we gotta make sure that necessary departments are communicating, work orders in place, and being looked at, you know, washed or serviced, whatever it is. And my point of saying, if transportation does not know, you're the director of child nutrition. And I think it's only right that as the director, whether it's work order, however it is that is put in, so the director of transportation knows. And then if the ball is dropped and you put the work order in, like you said, black and white. Right. And make sure that Dr. Carpenter is CC'd on it. So, you know, like you said, with presentation, it is everything.
Should be maintained.
Yeah, I do have it. So we have to watch those on twice a year. And Mr. Mouse, when he was here, he was the one keeping out the info in detail. So he was the main. He was that.
I think, go ahead and say, go ahead.
Unless the district.
Again, if that's something that we want to do, of course, that's gonna be after tonight. What I'm after is the quick fix now. And if we have that communication and that collaboration, we can go from there. So between child nutrition, maintenance, transportation, and Dr. Carpenter, y'all work out the plan and whatever is most economical, best as far as feasibility, we go with that until we do something. Can y'all do that for me?
Yes.
Well, Ms. Garner, again, Ms. Garner knows who's driving, so she can handle that part. We, whatever outside watching that. All right. All right. Thank y'all so much. Thank you too, Mr. Green. We do need to make a motion to approve this catalog. Motion has been moved and properly second that we approve that law as Motion by Bert Robinson, seconded by, I'm here to say it different, that we approve this. You heard that motion. Any further discussion or unread? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, would you let it be known by your voting sign of aye? Aye. Any opposed, nay? Ayes have it. Let the record reflect unanimous approval of the interlaw proposal. Thank you so much. Can we continue? So we can wrap this up. Thank you, thank you. Right. Next, we have public forum. Public forum. All right, Ms. Brooks. Yes. Okay. 2-minute break, you all.